Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the South Park unofficial after show. My name is Phil Svitek. I've got Tony B. Tony, aka Anthony Becerra, and Christian Blatt. Now, you may remember us from the AfterBuzz TV days, and if you do, you're wondering where Steph Sabra. Now, if you don't remember us from the AfterBuzz days, you're like, what the hell is going on? Well, we will talk about the South Park vaccination special, but real quick, Steph Sabra, for those of you aware, is like our Kenny. And so we just wanted to work out our bro-ship issues without Steph Sabra. You know, we didn't want to subject her to some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. And also, it was Steph's birthday the day that this vaccination special aired. Coincidence? You tell me. So without further ado, though, Christian, what did you think of this vaccination special?
Well, look, in the last year and a half, we've gotten 2 hours of South Park, and it's not nearly enough, but it does make you really appreciate when you get it. I think there was a lot of great stuff, as always. They reference all sorts of things going on in the news. And I think it also is going to act as a very hard reset for South Park, because I feel like wherever they're going next, it's definitely going to be tailor-made for people who haven't watched in 15 years. You know, the fact that we get so far back, we get back to before the fourth grade years at this point, you know, before Mrs. Chokes on Dick. That's how far back we're going with having Mr. Garrison and Mr. Hat. You know, so from a longtime fan of the show, it's very interesting what they did. And then for somebody who just likes to laugh what's going on. It's good to know that our bro-ship isn't the only one that has struggled during the pandemic.
Yes, indeed. Well, hello, children. Tony, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty great. I really enjoyed this special. I thought it was, as crazy and kooky as it got, it was a bit more grounded than the pandemic special, and I kind of appreciate it for that, because it was focused on these four central characters of Kyle, Stan, Kenny, and Cartman, and it just kind of felt like a return to form. You know, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I think they, to me, South Park has always been kind of like a reflection of the absurdities of our society, and they freaking nailed it again. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess you guys are harping on the old. So let's talk about the old. You know, the good old period jokes, sexist jokes, things of that nature. Obviously, we get Mr. Hat back. In some sense, Mr. Service is like the new age Mr. Slave. So yeah, curious from your perspective of what was the old nostalgia versus the new.
The only thing missing was Kenny didn't die and get eaten by rats. But I think that it's they clearly have to do something with Mr. Garrison, because he's not president anymore. And I thought it was a good way to just have him come home and address the changes in the character, but really just trying to get him back there. I think that that's the biggest bit of nostalgia is really, resetting the character of Mr. Garrison. Everything else is kind of about the same as it's been the last few years. I would say it's a minor complaint. There was also absolutely no Heidi, which it hurts me, because she's so smart, and guys, she's so funny.
Funny.
It hurts that we didn't get to see her.
She was on her period.
Yeah, I think, well, that would either that or she sat on a ketchup packet. Either way, though, same difference. But I think that there were definitely, for long-term fans of Trey and Matt, there was, when they were going through all the Hollywood luminaries, there was the poster from Basketball. That made me laugh, because it also made me want to stay up late and watch Basketball, which I still might do tonight. But I think that there's a lot of those little moments that were a reward for those of us that have been with them for, I don't even know how long it is now, 25 years. Yeah.
No Terrence and Phillip, though. And for those watching on video, you think this is wine. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, so I can't say, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I can't say I'm not a full like diehard South Park fan. But I remember growing up and seeing some late night episodes on like Channel 9. So I do recall, I did notice some, when they kept coming back to the Walgreens line, and you saw
Mhm.
like Jesus in there, and then you saw like the classic aliens and stuff. I was like, oh, that's pretty great. So I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed like the classics like schoolroom hijinks with the whole ketchup bottle and stuff. Yeah, it kind of felt like Matt and Trey were kind of telling the audience like, hey, we're kind of returning, like things are returning back to normal, or slowly but surely are returning back to normal in the real world. And also in this show, we're kind of bringing it back home. Like we've explored certain options in the previous seasons. Like I like that they still kept like PC principle, but it's more like they're reining it back home to like the classic South Park style, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, to Tony's point, seeing Jesus, who I hasn't been on in a while, but really, it was like a Sergeant Pepper's album cover of just like how many they just crammed everybody in there. There's so many characters that didn't even have a line of dialogue, but it was like you saw so many of them crammed in a few different times, and I thought that was fun. It's nice to get some reminders. And look, even though we've seen him recently, anytime I see Towley, it just reminds me that he's the worst character ever, but he knows it.
Well, him, obviously, Mr. Hankey.
Hmm.
Yeah, all these characters. I did like the underpants gnomes.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Were essential. Yeah, I thought those were all little good touches and things of that nature, and kind of in a sense, it reminds me of you just at the end of the day, even like from the opening card, you can't really cancel South Park, right?
No.
And what I love about South Park, and we'll talk about this as far as QAnon and kind of that goes, but everyone in a weird way interprets South Park to be like for themselves, no matter what their beliefs. And it's like, see, South Park gets me, and it's like what people, I don't know. It's just interesting to me. Like South Park shits on everybody equally. It's an equal opportunity offender in that sense. So I just find it very fascinating that people like think that the show does have a certain viewpoint other than that it just doesn't give two shits about anybody. And so seeing that opening card of like, essentially like calling themselves out of like, yeah, go ahead and try and cancel us. In a sense, when we talk about the old and the new, it reminds me like I pretty much this past week, right, within the 7 days, uh, like Gen Z's tried to cancel Eminem, and I'm like, bro, they've been trying to cancel Eminem since his first song. Like we've been there, tried that, it doesn't work. You can't cancel Eminem, and it kind of, to me, it equates that to South Park of like it's so heinous and offensive that you can't, it's untouchable.
Yeah, I think you can only get canceled when you first go out and apologize for something. I think that there are the people who have proven uncancelable because look, South Park has, they've not by Trey and Matt's choice, they've taken episodes out of circulation, like the ones where you can see the Prophet Muhammad. But that's just more out of Comedy Central, just like we don't need these kind of headaches. So I think that that more deals with censorship than anything, and those episodes did at least air originally. But I think that you're not going to be able to cancel them for anything that they do on this show because it is South Park. It has been on so long. And yeah, I think Eminem's a great comparison. It's like a part of people's lives for so long that what people loved about Eminem, when they were 15, now they're like, oh, I realize I'm not supposed to think that that's cool or that's funny anymore. Which probably there are people that are the same way about South Park, but they probably shouldn't be watching it. If you're going to be offended by anything that was in, especially in last night's Q special. I don't know. I don't know why you're trying to watch it. That was thought it was a fairly unoffensive episode in South Park terms. There's plenty of stuff in it, but there's so much more that they've done in the last few years that the stuff where you're like, Jesus, or as Mr. Slave would say, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. I agree with you, period. Tony, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. It's something that's been so ingrained in our culture, and like from the get-go, they were unapologetic. From the get-go, they were so over the top and absurd, and playing into like heightening the absurdity that they saw in what's going on in the world, and it just always worked for them. It kind of like they're like, no, this is the truth. We're just showing you the truth. It is a little heightened, but that's what makes it funny. That's what makes it a very like potentially offensive to a lot of people, but also it's kind of like on brand for them. It's like, no, we didn't make this show to make you feel better or make you feel comfortable about certain things. We made this show. It's kind of like we made this show just to share how we see the world, and like just take part of how we see it. And if you agree with it or if you don't agree with it, it doesn't matter, because it's not for us. It's more just like a reflection overall, and then you'll take that reflection as you see. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like a Rorschach test in a sense.
Yeah, no.
And I really enjoyed it for that reason.
So let's get into those specifics, right? So obviously, the show kind of opens up with the mainstream media trying to shove down our throats that we should get vaccinated, which is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard of, obviously. And so, yeah, let's talk about this idea that, who's essential, who's not. Club Walgreens, the hottest club. I love the, that sounds, doots,
Yeah.
And of course, like, of all people to like have to try to bust in and be brainwashed because he's a sheep, Mr. Mackey. And the fact that he tries to be a firefighter and all these different things.
Firefighter Ted.
Yes. Yeah. Let's it's kind of one of those things. Like obviously, like as of now, like all we're hearing is like vaccine, but yet still, I don't know. At least in California, it seems relatively. It's weird on some sense. Like for me personally, it's hard to like try to figure out how this all works. But then conversely, people who have no business getting a vaccine, they're like, "Yeah, I got a vaccine." I'm like, "How? How?" So I'm just kind of curious of how it tied, real life events to this.
Well, you might not know this, but Tony actually has all three. He has the Pfizer, the Moderna, and the Johnson and Johnson. And
he has a
right
Johnson.
now, actually.
Yeah.
They're all in me right now.
No, I mean, look, the sort of non-funny real world answer is that like all these places have people who just don't show up, and they have to throw them away at the end of the day. I know a lot of people who just from waiting, it's like, well, we've got like 100 left over. And then they give them to like old people first, and then they give them to people who deserve them, and then it's like, all right, we got 20 more. Who doesn't deserve them? And then people raise their hands. They're like, all right, come get it. So it's not a great system, but for people who are out of work because of the pandemic, it's not so bad. But I think that not literally the Walgreens. It's sort of like figuratively though. If you have people who are like, well, when do I even get in the line at the Walgreens to wait? Like how far away is my turn? And like since the pandemic special, or sorry, the vaccination special aired, literally earlier tonight, the plan is that everybody will have at least an appointment by May 1st. So that's sort of your answer is, like what, 6-7 more weeks. But the idea that people have gotten it already, and people are like getting together because it's like, oh yeah, I got my second dose. So should we should we go to the Bunny Ranch outside of Las Vegas? I mean, I'm trying to think of what's the least sanitary thing you can do. So I think that they really, they play it. I don't know. Do either of you know people who are like, I don't care, I am not getting that thing? Because I don't know those people, but I know they exist.
I know some anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, but see, I know people that aren't anti-vaxxers, but I think being an anti-vaxxer in general is incredibly dangerous. While I disagree, anyone who says, "Oh, you mean that shot that they didn't even test for 6 months before they started giving it to people, the shot that didn't exist a year ago?" Yeah, I don't trust it. I get it on this one, but I don't. I think most people are like, they know it's like, well, if you want to, at some point, if you want to get on an airplane again, you're going to need a shot. If you, if you want to go to Dodger Stadium, you're going to probably need a shot. If you want to go anywhere, you're going to have to prove it. And I'm like, all right, that seems like I'm all right living in that world versus the one we've lived in for the last year.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to spit in Tony's mouth if you don't have the vaccine? Which, by the way, was a great little touch to the episode.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was so great.
Look, the three of us, we can't wait until we can start spitting in each other's mouths again.
I know. Honestly, I've been asking myself, will I ever get to spit in one of your guys' mouths again or receive?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just spit up in the air and I try to catch it with my eyes closed, pretending it's one of you guys spitting.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, but you know what? It's sweet. I think it's very sweet.
Yeah. I don't know any anti-vaxxers myself personally, but what I can hearken or talk about is what frustrates me in a personal experience, and I try not to let it get to me, but when I think about it, it really frustrates me. Where it's like, my dad, who is he's diabetic, he's going to dialysis three days out of the week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and he was told me like, oh yeah, people are getting the shot, but only people who are 70 and above, and he right now is 60 years old, and it just kind of annoys me that's like, dude, he's right there, he's leaving the house not because he wants to, but because he has to get dialysis. And granted, it is a very secure facility, and they sanitize everything. At least I hope. That's what I hope for, doing their job, their part. But it's like it's frustrating to hear that. And then I see my friend, a friend of mine on Snapchat. She goes, "Oh, I'm getting my first dose of vaccine." I'm like, "You work at like a car body shop. Like, how are you getting it?" And she's like, "Oh, I lied and I said I work in agriculture." And that's when I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's
so
cool, I guess."
Here's the solution. Shouldn't your dad lie and say he works in agriculture?
Well, my dad doesn't work at all. See,
that's even better. Well, yeah. There's the other part is that your dad can wait in one of those lines for them to not have any shots left at the end of the day. But to your point, yeah, I think by going into whatever this facility is, you feel like that's somewhere that they should have some. Maybe not the first month or so that the vaccine was out there, but by this point they should. But I know what you're saying. I mean, I have to take my daughter to the Children's Hospital in LA for checkups and various meetings and things. And the first time I went, it was really nerve-wracking. And then you kind of get used to it because they just the protocols that are in place. But ultimately, you just have to have faith. Like, yeah, let's just assume that they clean these things. And it's. I think that Trey and Matt definitely focused on the fact that it's not a fair system. But if the system portrayed in South Park were accurate, where they just gave it to all the old people, you'd be like, yeah, I kind of get that. It's sort of lame for people that aren't old, but that's not what they're doing, And it varies by state. Like in New Jersey, they give it to smokers.
That's why I love how they highlighted that.
Yeah.
I smoke.
And I while I think it's flawed logic, you would understand that they would be more susceptible to any sort of, anything that impairs their breathing. So you could see that they would be at a high risk. Now, I don't know that they should be ahead of, say, like Tony's dad, but I could understand giving it to them. And then, what is it, like 78% of people who've been hospitalized for it are overweight or obese. Okay, so that's something else to factor into it too. And I think that they really do a great job in this show, in this South Park, just making us think about like, oh yeah, the whole thing is messed up, and the people who are getting it are being rewarded for not having anything better to do than just go. It's like trying to get a new pair of Air Jordans, or get like concert tickets when they go on sale, or whatever. Just like the people who have the time to really dedicate to it. That's what we need to have. Like you just now, as I'm talking about this idea of getting the Air Jordans when they come out, you need to figure out like vaccine bots that you can just program and like just figure out how to grab a bunch of appointments for your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did think that's why like Mackie was to me the perfect character. Like not
Yeah.
for me, not since like in Sheepshin have we like dived into the psyche of Mr. Mackey, and like
It's true.
when he just goes completely AWOL of I'm 50 years old, I could fucking die from this shit.
That was great.
Yeah, hit a whole level. The one kind of failure of this episode, although because I think in part because he wasn't in any real danger of having to get vaccinated, was Cartman's.
Yeah.
We've certainly seen him be an anti-vax. I thought that was a kind of missed opportunity, but again, he was not in any real danger of anyone.
No, and honestly, Cartman was pure Cartman in this episode. I mean, from the amount of problems that he caused, and then realizing that he could sell the vaccines for $2,000, I thought was great. I thought that I almost called him Craig. Scott Teeterman is his name, right? I thought he really got to shine in this episode, and it's good to see that somebody understands the truth, and it's Teeterman.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that, right? That's a big point of the episode. Miss Nelson, she had her period. Obviously, there's no denying
Obviously, out of her butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross. God,
Where it comes from, right?
Get it together.
The way I understand it, yes.
So of course they need a replacement, and who better than Mr. Mackey? And this is perfect. So many like just amazing jokes, like the little girl midway through of like I forget how she said it, but it was just so on point because she's like saying all these things, and it's clearly our president. Or it's the person who's still president and was wrongfully impeached or some bullshit like that.
Yep. It was like, that's exactly though. Yeah, what she said, it was like our savior who's still the president and was wrongfully impeached, but like because it's the little girl voice, it's hysterical. Yeah.
And I thought one of the things they do such a good job of like bringing to light all these social causes, right? So like the fact that Mr. Garrison is going through the food mart or whatever it is, and he's like, "What? Why is everyone staring at me? Is it because I'm gay? Is it because you've never seen a gay teacher? What? I'm the only one brave enough to go actually teach your damn kids?"
Yeah.
So just kind of flipping and twisting it all on its head. I thought it was, as you mentioned it, Christian, but it was a wonderful way to bring back Mr. Garrison and utilize him. And I thought even PC principle of like, we can't have anyone here who's identified as president before.
Yeah, that was great. I thought that was great. Yeah.
Because he's identified as a gay guy, as a woman, like all the things Mr. Garrison's been through, like especially for those that aren't aware, like it's just been all these things of all things. The one thing you identified as president.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's dive into just Mr. Garrison in general, and that'll lead us into QAnon and all that.
I thought. Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I just loved how he like showed up through the bus and he's like, "Yeah, I'm back. Like things are gonna be good." And then he's all like, "Oh, do you have any? What was it? Do you have any bags?" And he's like, "Oh, I got a lot of baggage." And I was like, "Oh,
that was great.
Great way to start his entrance."
Yeah, and I loved Mr. Service. It was it was a great callback, and I think that he's a very important character in the show. I mean, outside of the four kids, he clearly has the most power on the show because he's able to negotiate with show business, and they were trying to keep him out of it. So I thought it was great, and then just sort of dealing with the fact that they did have Mr. Garrison, as Trump essentially over the last 5 years, and actually dealing with the consequences of it, and just really diving into QAnon, I thought was great. And Phil, I know you shared an article with us. I think that's probably worth you explaining how it ties into this. And I don't want to steal your thunder.
Sure. But I'll kind of quickly pause just a little bit on it, but I do, so tying this in, right? It is interesting how Mr. Garrison, like in hindsight, it's almost looking at like, certainly some people will say like Bush. In hindsight, you almost kind of fit a narrative like Bush wasn't that bad compared to Trump, right? So, so the reality is like Mr. Garrison is like the world's worst teacher you want someone teaching your kids. I mean, the dude had a gerbil up his ass, right? If you remember all those episodes.
Yeah.
But like comparatively, compared to like the lunatics of QAnon that eventually come in and tutor the kids, it's like, yeah, Mr. Garrison ain't that bad. And so,
Yeah.
To the article that Christian's referring to, I got it from the New York Post and whatever else. So I, take it from a grain of salt, but it is believable in the sense that a lot of people who watched South Park, that were QAnon members, they actually were pro South Park because they thought South Park finally, as the mainstream media, was bringing to light, the issues at hand.
Of the cabal, of the Hollywood elites that want to eat our children for the what was that, the that one chemical.
I also thought it was great was like, oh wait, do Obama and Biden drink the same blood from or do they have different child? Kids? Yeah, the same child. And yeah, I thought, yeah, no, I mean, I think from a Q standpoint, they probably appreciate it. It's like, look, they're saying what we actually believe, which is, again, how many of us learned anything about Scientology was from the Trapped in the Closet episode where it flashes on the screen. This is what they really believe. And it is also how I learned about the Mormon faith from how, the things that they really believe. So Trey and Matt are always helping us understand things better. And obviously it is done in a way for comedic effect, but it's like they're getting their ideas out there. They're telling you, you have high profile people. You have Louis Farrakhan telling people not to take the vaccine. So you have people who are trying to tell you not to take it for whatever reason. And they're at least highlighting that those beliefs are out there. And I think it's all very funny. And of course, it all comes back to the whites, which was actually something I hadn't thought about in a while. So
you forgot about the whites?
No. I just, look, I'm colorblind, all right? I don't see things that way. So I don't see the whites as any more important as anybody else. But,
you don't see the tokens?
I only see the tokens. Okay. But no, I thought it was a great way that they balanced all of it. I don't know what you think, Tony, but that was my thinking.
I thought it was a great callback with the whites. I thought it was a very great kind of like a judo chop. It's like, hey, it's only boom these people who kind of still believe in this stuff. And
what do you mean these people?
Oh, that I mean, this family, right? So this family, they call the whites that believe in this stuff.
The little girl definitely stole every scene that the whites were in. By the way, she's fantastic.
Yeah, I love how too when they go to like the underground QAnon base that the whites have in their basement, and it's like you see the bear guy who rushed the Capitol and everything. Yeah. I thought that was fantastic.
The QAnon shaman is that guy.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that is legit. Oh my god!
Yeah, that's what he's known as, and his defense, legitimate defense in the real world, is Trump made me do it. It's like I was just doing what he told me. So it eats into the argument that well, look, these people were I didn't tell them what to do, and I guess Mr. Garrison did. So, but yeah, the fact that they actually had they had that guy in particular I thought was great. And then the woman tutor, who just the information that she's sharing, it's like, I don't know, it looks like a lot of our Facebook feeds, really. It's like the people who share these articles where they're like, they don't even try to endorse it. They're just like, something to think about. And I'm like, there's only one thing to think about. It's that you're crazy. And I'm glad that we know this now. So I, make sure that I'm never alone in a room with you. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess three things. I have two legitimate things, but I'll start with the non-legitimate thing.
Please always start with the illegitimacy.
So our friend, the audience probably won't know him, but our friend Ian Kaiser, we'll just call him Ian for short. You don't really need to know the backstory of Ian, but he is of the belief that I don't even know what his belief is, but when the lasers beamed Garrison and Mr. Service and Mr. White to the tundra, he doesn't think that they were just lasers. Now, I'm of the belief those were Jewish space lasers.
Yeah,
clearly.
No, 100%. 100% Jewish space lasers. Yes.
Okay, so Christian is on my side. Tony, do you believe those lasers were Jewish space lasers, or as Ian will say, they're just lasers?
So I went pretty in depth with this. I did a freeze frame. I did a zoom in to the lasers, and they're actually made up of a bunch of microscopic red
Jews.
Star of Davids. So they're 100% Jewish lasers. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean that is a firm belief about the Jewish lasers that a currently sitting member of the House of Representatives, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has talked about the Jewish lasers in the past. And
space lasers.
I think it's
not to. I just want to make sure it's Jewish space lasers.
And the Jewish space lasers, I think, in the story, they were utilized by by show business, by the creators behind the show who wield all the power, and Mr. Garrison is bartering with them. So basically, Trey and Matt somehow have access to Jewish space lasers. So I thought that was it was all very funny.
Wait, I am genuinely confused. Is there like a belief about actual Jewish space lasers out there?
100%. Like, not joking around. There's the belief in the Jewish.
I didn't know you guys were playing a
Wait, Tony, are you not aware of the California fires?
Yeah, that's what started the California fires, was the Jewish space lasers.
I can't with this.
Wait, what do you mean you can't? I know, like, what a crazy world we live in, that there's Jews that control space lasers.
This is news to me, guys. I'm legit,
the first time that the truth is pulled down in front of you, it hurts, but it gets easier to understand. Once you're aware of the reality of the world we live in, like Phil and I, we know that I'm just interested in seeing what the Jewish space lasers start next. Because we know that they started the fires, so I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure that they probably caused Tiger Woods' car accident. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. That's probably something that Jewish space lasers did, yeah.
I also think it's bullshit. There was that one scene where Mr. White was explaining everything.
Yeah.
And then clearly the fucking censors just decide to take that scene out. It's like we were going to get the truth. And by the way, it's bullshit, because they were going to tell everyone the fucking voter fraud of the machines because of the Venezuelan technology. So, you know what? I'm just tired of the fucking lies, is what I am.
I am too.
So, the Hollywood elite, they those two actors from Basketball, they got to go down.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the running joke. This is taking a completely different turn, but silence is violence.
Yeah, I'm glad that they finally called attention to it, that silence is violence, because it's a long-held argument that the not saying anything is just as bad as what the people are doing. And I've always been of the belief of you can say that it's wrong to not say anything, but the person that's actually beating someone up is the one that's more guilty. But you know what? Silence is violence.
But it's one thing for Cartman to use that line. It was a whole nother
when Mr. Broflovsky said it.
His dad used it on him. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle's dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Who, by the way, isn't that much better because he's like Skank Hunt 42. So,
You're right.
Talk about silence is violence.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
That's a great point.
Yeah. No, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought that was great. That Cartman is always the one who is using the social justice warrior terminology and the trigger words. Like, he's always the one who is the most plugged into these things and utilizing them for his own needs. So yeah, Cartman was he was full Cartman last night, which was great.
Yeah. So to kind of close the loop, Tony, now that you know about Jewish space lasers, if you remain silent and don't tell everyone you ever see that Jewish space lasers exist, you're kind of violent. Like,
I'm just as bad as the space lasers, the Jewish space lasers.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the JSLs.
I do. The fact that Ian didn't realize that they were Jewish space lasers is one thing, but he must have appreciated the fact that the entire problem gets solved by Mr. Garrison arranging for Air Israel to show up with the vaccines. And I mean, look, that's something I read about like a month ago, that in Israel their instances of COVID have fallen 89%, and they've given it to everyone. They've had so much vaccine in Israel that they're literally giving it to Palestinians now, and they hate them, and they're giving it to Palestinians, and they're giving it to 16-year-olds. That's when you know you got too many. They're like, oh, just give it to the kids. They'll be fine.
So it's raining vaccines out there.
Oh yeah, I know, and I thought it was great that the one guy's like, well, why don't you go to Israel? I tried, I can't go. I thought that was great. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Ian will admit, I think Ian is part of the Hollywood elite, and so he'll deny, as they all do.
I mean, he's a filmmaker,
Yeah.
I mean, look, we know who he is. Yeah.
He won South by Southwest last year, and he's upset that he was on par to go win an Oscar. It really was. So until the pandemic, which was brought down by the Chinese. So.
Yeah, you're talking about the China virus or Wuhan flu. I think,
Precisely. That tried to bring down the Jews to expose the Hollywood elite.
And
that's why the Jews fought back.
That's why the Jews fought back with their Jewish space lasers to try to burn down Hollywood. That's why only the fires were in California.
You might be onto something.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky. Yeah.
Conspiracy brain right here. Real quick.
Conspiracy. What a dirty word.
I mean, yeah.
The truth. You mean the truth?
The truth.
Yeah. The truth hurts.
The truth with a Q in there somewhere. So I just want to harken back to the whole, how I love that the whole lasers thing. I love how when they're like, let's go, and they go off screen, and then they're in the tundra all of a sudden, and then I just love the whole breaking of the fourth wall, and that's something that maybe I haven't seen enough South Park, but that's something I've never seen in South Park myself. I don't know if you guys ever seen something like that before, but I really enjoyed that. I found that very interesting. Where I'm like, oh, these guys are breaking the fourth wall and using it as a gag within the story of what's going on. I thought it was fantastic.
I think they've done it to a lesser extent, as far as I mean, certainly like even the pandemic special, just the nods of like, oh, no one likes the pandemic special. Come on. So I think there's kind of nods, and I remember them doing specific moments, but I can't recall them enough.
No, but I would agree that this is the most blatant, and
right.
It's a technique I've seen on a few shows. There's an episode of the animated Clerk series, the Kevin Smith cartoon from 20 years ago that did this, and then it goes back to Duck Amuck. I think there's a Warner Brothers. There's one Daffy Duck cartoon that breaks the fourth wall. It's a very specific. But yeah, I think it was a good way to use it, especially with Mr. Garrison being the one who is sort of, kind of dealing with all that. So
My balls are freezing.
that was great. And also the fact that and I was actually thinking about the fact that they animated that huge penis. And I'm like, are they going to be, like this show gets rerun at like 5 p.m., like late, like older episodes. I'm like, they're not going to be able to show this one, or are they going to cover it up like covering up Muhammad with a, I mean, I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do, but it's just more like, oh, they can't even use this episode, except for like after 10 o'clock or something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't think they mind too much.
No, I don't think they care about that. They'll let Comedy Central figure it out. And they also know, like, Comedy Central probably won't even be here a year from now. New episodes of South Park will be like premiering on HBO Max before you know it. So,
True.
Isn't it? You're kind of dialed into the world of this, but like, I remember like a lot of writers, and I think Matt and Trey fall into this category where they like go through the various rules of what's possible and what's not, and it's just completely heinous. Of like, wait, we can do this, but not that. So then all of a sudden, they start going after what they can do and just pushing the envelope in such a weird way. And it's like, well, it's within the FCC guidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that the stuff that they know they can get away with, and it's like, it's funny because there's words that are beeped on South Park, at least when you watch it. I don't know. I mean, you guys watched it on HBO Max, so is it not beeped when you watch it that way, or?
Not on HBO
all.
Max, but I did also watch it on like the TV version.
Yeah, because I recorded it on YouTube TV, that's just like running a DVR, and so there's some words that are beeped, and then there's other ones that you think should have been beeped that weren't. But it's I think that they know which envelopes they can push. And then the ones that they couldn't, they probably just nudge a little bit. They don't actually push the envelope. They sort of do that trick where like nobody's looking, so they just like let the envelope nudge a little bit, And I think that they, these last couple episodes that we've had over the last year during the pandemic, they're definitely plugged into a few things. I think that are there's some surprises. Let's put it that way.
Well, I think they do the thing of like, let's say Cartman says something, and then Kyle will say like, dude, you can't say that in school. Why the fuck can't I say that in school? Well, you're not supposed to say, you know what I mean? Like they'll just make a whole gag of like what you're not supposed to do. So yeah. One of the things I want to talk about Miss Nelson, right? So she's like the big key component of this to like basically start in some sense, I don't know if it was like recalling the insurrection of them trying to get to the school with the vaccine or not, but certainly there was a big standoff, and poor Mrs. Nelson, it took a very dark turn certainly with her.
And now the guy who runs Shitty Walk is the only Asian character left on the show. So it's probably not accidental, that they did that.
They don't have any like Asian kids, huh? Any Asian students or anything like that?
No, Asians aren't allowed to move to Colorado. It's just weird. I don't know. It's a holdover from the Mr. Garrison administration. So
Gotcha. It was interesting. She was marked for death from the start with her period.
I did think it was very funny when she started coughing. Because you knew what was happening. You're like, oh, that's amazing. It's like, oh my God, I finally get a vaccine. I thought that was a nice touch for sure.
Which was a great, like, it went. I love the complete oppositeness of it, right? So you have the funeral, and then you essentially get into like a sausage party ending of them just dancing and just shoving all the old people back into, which was great in itself. I love whenever we get Stan's grandpa like, "Hello, Billy."
Yeah,
we're gonna get some pussy.
That was a great callback too. That his grandpa, who calls him Billy, was there. That was great.
I love that whole thing, how they portrayed the the old people, like the very elderly folks, just like running rampant once they got their vaccine. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go to a bar and get some pussy, or like they're like, what's going on in the parking lot? And you see an old man on his bicycle, on his motorcycle, just busting donuts. It was so funny. Oh my god, I enjoyed that so
Wait,
much.
did you say anything? Because I got too much antibodies in my ear.
Oh, okay, I thought I was muted, so I was like, oh no. Yeah,
What a great line! What a, such a diss.
That was great.
Got too many antibodies.
Too many
Yeah.
antibodies. Yeah.
All right. Well, as we wrap up, any stray observations or jokes or anything?
I love the yeah, sorry, I'm not meaning to cut you off. I have like a bunch of like highlights I want to talk about. I love the
Oh,
little
great. Please
cuties.
do.
The little cuties. I thought
Yes.
that was fucking hilarious. Because like
Cuties was great. And
it's
the
like
fact that they went back to raisins, which had been shut down, I thought it was great to see raisins again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. I just thought it was funny. It's a good callback to like, yeah, these people who are like QAnoners.
What do you
or I call
mean
them
these people?
I mean,
Yeah,
people.
stop
some-
calling us these people.
Some people who are QAnoners, or I like to call them Q-tards. They're
Truthers.
Whoa,
Truthers.
cute.
That's our word, all right? We get to use that. You don't get to use that.
Oh,
Yeah, cancel yourself, you asshole.
All right, how about
Okay, you call us fucking bigoted, huh?
all the cuties out there? How about all the cuties out there?
That's fair. I'll take that. Sure.
all the cuties out there, the grown-up cuties, you know, they're raising little cuties like the little girl. Like that's a real thing, you know. The parents are indoctrinating the children into believing these I mean, you know, believing a certain
Educating.
Right, they're educating a generation of people who knows what they're going to be doing in 20 years, or you know, 15 years from now, who knows. Also the tutor nons, I thought I thought that was really
That
good.
was great.
Yeah, like I mean, it might be a reflection of how some QAnoners are going to be going after the young crowd, trying to indoctrinate them into their into the truth. You know, I thought that was fantastic. And yeah, that was one of the two things. Oh, the news announcer guy.
Yeah,
That was really
so
funny.
great.
The back and forth between the news announcers was good. I thought, yeah, they had some really great moments, and it's you know, very, very close to home for people who watch a lot of news. You're like, you kind of run into that sort of dynamic. I would say that there wasn't nearly enough Randy Marsh in this episode, but also he really didn't fit into it. So you know, and he factored into the pandemic special, and at least we got to see him at the end. But yeah, I thought that you know, look, I just always want more Randy. But other than that, I think they did a great job, and I wonder when we're going to get more South Park. You know, are they going to go back to having like 10 episodes in the fall?
I think
or are they
that's
going
the
to
plan. I think, as far as I understand,
they should take into consideration of the fact that we've gotten 4 half hours in the last year and a half, and that would mean that they owe us 16 more half hours, however they want to do it. You know, so I'm expecting to collect, or I can just watch, Baseball 6 times. I have it on DVD, so why not?
That's great.
yeah.
You know, I feel like they're set to return as long as the Jewish space lasers don't mess it up. You know.
You mean
Yeah,
censorship?
Yeah.
Right.
Fucking cancel culture bullshit.
Mhm.
Okay, so the real big thing, how we started talking about stuff Sabra, so I really need to know. Are we gonna do a 2-2-3 alternating weeks?
Yeah. You know what?
3-3-4? What are we doing here?
I'm gonna waive my claim to custody. You guys can just split her 15 days a month.
No. Steph needs a good life. We all agree Steph needs a good life.
I can't give her the kind of life that you guys can. I can't give her what she needs. I'm sorry. Which
Is it because
one
Casa Bonita's open this weekend and you want to fucking go?
It's got a little bit to do with. It's like 80% Casa Bonita, 20% I don't want to wax that unibrow. So it's just that I couldn't really look.
Listen, we can account for that in the scheduling. You get it maybe once every 6 weeks. Once every 6 weeks, you would have to.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, but I just want her for an afternoon. I don't want to put her to bed. All right.
I don't know. I can't afford a glam squad. I'm sorry.
All right, so but that means that she's moving in with Phil.
There you go.
Who
Phil.
said affording a glam squad? Listen, guys. You just, I don't know. You just take some Scotch tape and really, really put it on there, and just
some Gorilla Glue.
yeah. I hear that works really great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Poor Kenny. Poor Kenny.
I know. Poor Kenny.
I
do love
it
wasn't just this episode, that when they want you to understand Kenny, there's no problem understanding him. They have him speak very clearly sometimes because the story dictates it, and I always appreciate that.
Yeah, I felt for him, and I thought that was a good touch in general of just obviously I think as much as it was about the kids' mental health and keeping their friendship. Obviously, I think it extends out to the greater world.
Yeah.
So
sure,
I appreciate that touch. All right. Well, I think we haven't touched about on anything. We certainly there's things that we missed, but we've talked long enough. And as we wrap out, just update the people. What have you been doing? I don't even know. What sort of experiments in the basement have you guys been up to? There's a guy who built a Blockbuster instead of fixing his wife's oven, so I don't. What are you guys up to? Tell the people.
Well, I did that, but it was a Hollywood video instead of a Blockbuster, so it's almost the same thing.
I'm with you.
Right?
That's,
you know what I'm
that's
saying.
What I grew up with, actually. I grew up going to Hollywood Video.
I grew up on Tommy K's Video, which was a very East Coast Connecticut thing. So not very.
Yeah, I had non-chain. I grew up in a little town of 3,000 people, but we had 4 video rental places in that little resort town. But anyway, let me put on my chin diaper while I talk to you guys in true South Park fashion. There you go. No, it just looks like an Abe Lincoln beard. No, I do some of the shows that people might know me for. That while the AfterBuzz TV hiatus continues, you can find me on my YouTube channel, the Blackcast YouTube channel, BLADTCAST. We have a political show which we have changed the name to Biden Time. Thank you.
Hey.
And we do a show called Marvel Movie Talk, which is a brand new show, not a show with a similar name as Marvel Movie Talk. We've acted as an after show for the last 9 episodes of WandaVision. We'll do the same for Falcon and Winter Soldier, so find us over there. And I do the Blackcast, the regular podcast that I've been doing for. We've just posted our 425th episode.
Congratulations!
Because I've been doing it for 8 years, so we're at the point where we have more episodes than we have listeners, and we haven't ever been happier. If people would like to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Christian DMZ.
So you smoked a big blunt on while recording that, right? It was your 420th episode.
When we did 420. I'm trying to think of something funny, but I had some blueberry edibles, and
those are great.
Well, I took a really good nap after we finished podcasting. Let's put it that way.
Heyo, well deserved.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Well, I just want to applaud you, Christian, because unlike the fucking school system in LA, you have not abandoned your kids.
My what?
Your kids.
Oh, fuck.
Your cuties. You haven't abandoned your cuties. Maybe you refer to them as your cuties.
You little cuties.
I never stopped sending my kids to school. The school was closed for 5 months, but I'm like, you guys figure it out. I'll be back at 5 o'clock.
That is great, parent. Listen, I
As
love
you should.
the ingenuity, the resourcefulness, and the will to make them grow up. That's great parenting.
Yeah, I'd give them a Taco Bell gift card every day and be like, you know what to do. I'll see you. I'll see you in a few hours.
Yeah, kids today, they're fucking spoiled. They're fucking babied. It's like, it's like, God, 13-year-old pubescent boy, can't you just wipe your own ass already? Like, come on.
Oh,
So, yes.
I think he's talking to you, Tony.
I am talking to Tony B. Tony.
Hey, hey, I'm 27 and I can.
When do you need me to come over to wipe your ass? Is it that dirty? Is it?
I'm 2 weeks overdue, buddy.
All right, I'll come over later.
This is not good. I'm about to pass out from the smell of it. So, me, I mean, you and I started like a little thing, on Clubhouse every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific
Well, we can't say
Standard Time.
every. Listen, we try every Wednesday.
Check our feed, check our Instagram feeds on when we'll hit up
tell them to go to Club. Don't tell them to check this, to check that, then to get on. Go to Clubhouse. That's it, and we're there.
Go to Clubhouse. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Tony B Tony, spelled TonyBtoeknee. I've been sharing some poetry on there and just trying to give off good vibes to the world, and you can kind of witness my growth and my development as a human being, and hopefully you get a little something out of what I post and what I share as well. But right now, I'm just working, currently in the process of getting another job, and hopefully eventually I want to get in the process of becoming a life coach. So hopefully I can get the ball rolling on that. But first, I need the money. So that's what I'm working on right now. And, some side projects here and there that still need some working on too as well. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I've got some organizations you can volunteer for.
I'm down.
They're,
do it.
Jewish space laser type.
Yeah.
Margie Taylor Greene, she needs, she doesn't have any committees, but she needs some people. Pay's not great, but
yeah, she's probably going to run for Senate next year. So you want to get behind an important cause that you believe in.
Yes, or MAGA Pact. There's going to be opportunity there. Lots of money to be raised there.
Well, I'll think about it. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Christian, is he saying he doesn't want to support our one true president?
No, I think that he's afraid to say it, but he's not saying that he wouldn't.
Because he thinks the mainstream media is going to cancel him?
Yeah, he's afraid. I get it. I would be too.
Listen, okay. We're going to work on that. We're going to work on listen, as long as you just wink, I get it. We'll work on it. You're a little scared of the mainstream media, so we'll work on it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you for joining us. As always, you can leave a comment down in the comments section or hit us up on all the social media. They've told you theirs. Mine is at Phil Svitek. Very simple. We'd love to converse with you. And if you be respectful, we'll be respectful. If you troll, guess what? You will get the troll wrath right back. I will go Skank Hunt 42 on your ass. So, trust me, Tony knows how deep I can go with my trolling.
Oh, yeah. Pretty deep.
Pretty deep. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully this was as fun for you as it was for us. Stay clear of Jewish space lasers. That's what we have.
Peace out, y'all.
I'm gonna jack it where the sun always shines. He's gonna jack it. Been spreading the word and now I need to ease my mind. Jacking it home. Been planting them apple seeds and while the apples grow, I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego. Jacking it, jack. Spanking it, jacking it, spanking it, smack. I don't need no shirt, no, gonna take them pants right off. He's about to jack it. On such a bright day, who needs underwear or socks? Jack it, ho. Been around God's country